So it's been a while since I spoke about Ian Garry, so we're going to disguise this video as a Colby Covington video. But really it's about the redemption arc of Ian Garry, and we'll give him a little bit of slack on this one, I think. We're going to go through Colby's response to Ian Garry and all the hype that's surrounding their potential fight in Ian's mind. We'll have a look at Colby in an interview last night, totally debunking that. And there's a few little things that I want to show you about Ian Garry that just kind of popped out to me over the weekend where we saw him at UFC 301. And they were very, how do I say this?
Kind of retarded.
But we'll get to them in a second. Before we do, if you could hit like and subscribe, I'd appreciate that one. So yeah, let's jump into it and hear what Colby has to say.
Ian Garry, I know you've probably seen this shit. Speaking of promos, that was classic. So he's claiming allegedly that he's accepted the fight with you.
We all know that he's a cuck, but now we know he's a liar. Because UFC, Hunter, Dana, they haven't talked to me about this fight. This fight has not been presented, you know. He's just lying. He's just trying to get clickbait and get people to talk about him. Like, I don't know who I'm fighting. I gave him stipulations. You know, I said, hey, if you want to fight me and you're serious about business, just show me you're serious. Because when I show up, I want to make money and I'm trying to do good business. Yeah. We already saw at our last press conference. He didn't even show up because he knew I was going to have a live mic. So he's already scared to show up to a press conference where he's not fighting me. What's going to happen when he's at a press conference and he has to fight me? He's probably not going to show up. So I gave him stipulations. If you want to fight me and you want to show you're serious about business, turn on your comments. Could you imagine, Max, turning off your comments, like, and not letting the NFL fans, like, say what they think about you?
Yeah.
Come on, dude. That's some little girl shit. Like,
it is.
That's
not wrong.
Yeah.
Not wrong.
I mean, yeah, look, the comments been turned off is cringe. There's a couple of different ways that you can actually look at this. You can look at it from a really positive point of view of Ian Garry, that he's promoting and he's doing his best to get on one of the biggest cards of the year with Conor McGregor. And I think that I have this article pulled up here. Incredible for our nation, Ian Garry eyes takeover part 2 on the Conor McGregor UFC 303 card. I don't want to be too harsh, but this is kind of sad and pathetic. The fact that he is working so hard to get this Colby Covington fight. I know that Colby Covington engaged with him there for a bit, back and forth in terms of stipulations. As I've said a couple of times on streams, I kind of tuned out of the Ian Garry stuff. I think it's sad and pathetic. I think it's a real black spot on UFC fighters, the UFC as an organization, or ex-fighters or YouTubers to even talk about this kid. That's just my honest opinion. He is an absolute
nothing burger.
He fought Jeff Neal after he ran away from Vicente Luque. I've never seen anything like it in my life. I've never seen anyone being on a huge card at the end of the year, so many huge stars on it, and pretending to be sick. Going off doing a photo shoot, pretending to be sick and bouncing out of there, bailing out of there, letting down his 7 fans. I've never seen anything like it, and he got a pass. He got a pass by everyone. So that's why I haven't engaged in the Colby, Ian Garry stuff back and forth, because I really don't think he deserves to be there. He got into the octagon with Jeff Neal after talking so much trash on that guy. He made t-shirts with the guy's mugshot on it. Videos spread all across social media of Ian Garry and his wife laughing and sneering and giggling at the fact that Jeff Neal had gotten himself into a spot of trouble. So these lads, with all their wisdom, decided to put it on a t-shirt and try to sell it. Sad. And after all that, he got in there. First of all he wanted to do was touch gloves over and over again and hug.
You're my special friend.
So that's sad. You know, keep the same energy, bro. And then he ran around for 3 rounds and got a contentious win. And now we're supposed to deal with him coming out every day, regurgitating the same bullshit, sad, pathetic lines that were written for him about Colby Covington. Fuck off, man. For a minute there, it was something, right? It was something. Colby versus Ian Garry. People dislike both of them. This could be something. Then it gets to the point where this just becomes really sad and pathetic. And that's a stigma that has stuck to Ian Garry. And I don't think he's going to be able to shake it off. Colby Covington says that he hasn't been contacted by Dana or Hunter or anyone regarding this fight. And he calls Ian Garry a liar. Ian Garry is telling the whole world and anyone else who has any interest in listening that the contract is there and Colby refuses to sign it. Colby is saying the contract isn't there. If we know anything about Dana White, Do we actually believe that Ian Garry holds all this power where he can say, this is the only fight that I want? I've seen interviewers talking to him and they're like, so what other options are being presented or that might be in the pipeline? Oh no, there's no other option. It's just me and Colby as the co-main event at the Conor McGregor card. It might come to fruition. We all might be silenced and we all might be told this is how it is. Ian Garry is an extremely powerful lad within the UFC. But I doubt it. I absolutely doubt it. I want to jump over and go through a couple of little bits that I saw over the last couple of days because I was interested in doing this video. I didn't want to give him too much attention because he doesn't deserve it. And hopefully we get to the stage where he's offered the fight like Michael Venom Page, where I'm not sure whether I'm making this up, but didn't Dana White say that that made a lot of sense? Or someone within the organization said that that might make a lot of sense, and I think that it does. Same type of style. It'd be an entertaining, great fight or two up-and-coming guys. Michael Venom Page, more so than Colby Covington, makes sense for me. So I just wanted to make this video to point out the hypocrisy and the delusion from Ian Garry in this whole Colby Covington situation. But also, in doing so, I've come across a few little bits. First of all, UFC 301 last week, Ian Garry was in attendance because he lives over there. And by the way, even though it's going to be an epic move for him to represent Ireland on the same card as Conor McGregor, he also represents Brazil. You remember he said that? And he's representing them people and he's going to wear their shorts and he's going to have a dual system flag going on. Cringe, embarrassing, whatever. So he's there, he's at 301 and the camera's panning around to the fighters, celebrities that are in the crowd. So it goes to a bunch of different UFC fighters, Grasso, Pereira, they're all there in the crowd. As you expect, the camera spends maybe 10 or 15 seconds on them. There's a little kind of salute to the camera, all of the usual stuff. It goes to Ian Garry. His wife pulls a retarded, mentally ill face and the camera literally pans away at 100 miles an hour. It didn't stay on him longer than 5 seconds. I assume because of the production team handling the camera panning around to the crowd knows that even in Brazil, if you keep the camera on Ian Garry for longer than 10 seconds, you're going to get bombarded with boos. That's my thoughts there. But there was a few bits that was crazy and cringe in the build up to it and in the aftermath of it and during 301. Let's have a little look. So this is a video that Ian Garry put out himself. You can see him walking in with his little bit of special needs head, all that sort of stuff. I don't know how many people on Twitter have actually said that is this dude on the spectrum? But here's where it gets extremely cringy. I'm going to turn on the sound for this one. Watch this. So we have Ian Garry singing and gesturing to the crowd, fine, a little bit mental, but fine. Then we have him screaming across a bunch of people like Gilbert Burns saying, "Where's my hug? Where's my hug?"
What the fuck are you talking about?
First of all, anybody that says, "Where's my hug?" if they're not like a 2-year-old child, there's something lacking in the skull there. Like, you know what I mean? It's a bit mad. Where's my hug? And he seems to be a huge fan of hugging guys and holding on to the hug too long, as you saw there with Gilbert Burns. Go look at the comments. There's a bunch of people are like, dude, you're hanging on to that hug way too long. It reminded me of the last time that Gilbert Burns met Ian Garry, and she was fairly cringe and embarrassing as well. Oh, Gilbert Burns is clearly trying to escape the grasps of this mentally ill kid who's kind of whining and whinging saying, "I miss you, I miss you." Like, what is going on? This is cringe. What makes this even more interesting is something that I covered before. Ian Garry's energy raised red flags with Gilbert Burns' psychologist ahead of Chimaev clash. The headline is damning enough, but there's more to it. During an interview with MMA On Point, Garry recounted a cancelled dinner plan initiated by Burns' wife due to psychologist's concerns. Burns' psychologist deemed Garry's high energy levels as potentially agitating for Burns, who was preparing for a crucial match. And I covered this story before. So basically, you had the cringe fest himself hanging on too tightly to hugs, kissing people on the forehead and kissing people all over the place and being just a whiny little brat. And then you have Gilbert Burns' wife having to go knock on the hotel room door of Ian Garry and say to him and his handler, "Listen, we're not allowed to play with you anymore." The psychologist said it. Basically, they got a sick note from the doctor to say that we don't want to be friends anymore. So it's extremely interesting that on the weekend just past, Ian Garry was hanging out at Gilbert Burns again. "Hey bro, where's my hug?" Uh-huh. Okay. And here's the last clip that I'm going to show you on Ian Garry. I guess this was the build up to 301, or is it just a general day in the head of some strangely distracted and mentally ill people? Guru the Musical tweets, what's worse? 1. Ian Garry acting gayer than John Jones, or 2. Getting your children to impersonate a slutty Instagram pose, or 3. Ignoring your baby who is literally drowning, or 4. Posting this publicly. And as you can see, I don't know what to make of this. He's wearing G-string type of thing with his bird and some other kid, and as we can see over here on the left, the two parents are too interested in what could possibly be a viral Instagram post, whilst the baby's head is literally dropping under the water. Extremely interesting parenting that we can see on display here from these two virtuous human beings who went after Neil Magny so viciously because of his parenting style, because he wanted to discipline his own children. And this is what you're at over here.
You're a weirdo, bro. You're not well. You're not well. Get help. Go to a fucking doctor or something.
So, as I said, Colby Covington calls Ian Garry a liar. I call him a dude who's on the spectrum who shouldn't be anywhere near the UFC. That's what I say. And as for this video, this speaks for itself, as does the hugging and the cringing and the whining that I've showed you in the other videos. Let me know if you're interested in Ian Garry fighting Colby Covington at UFC 303 on the Conor McGregor card, or whether you're interested in seeing Ian Garry just fucking off. How about that? Let me know your thoughts down below. Hit like, subscribe and share. I appreciate you. Cheers.